is gonna come in and do a great job at what they do. They come in here and prepare you guys for the future when it comes to leadership and evolving. So this is a person I really and truly I love this woman. She's like my rich daughter. It calls me a rich dad. She's like my rich daughter. But she's like I said, that person who I always need, if I need her, she's gonna be there. And I can count on her to have a great training today. And you guys get a chance to be blessed because we have so many people coming in. We have to start doing this training quarterly, Carly. Hint, hint. So just so you guys know, again, you heard me give you guys a hint. Today, Miss Carly is going to be steering the ship. She's going to be navigating, you guys through these easy ways on making money. And so I want to turn the floor over to Mrs. Carly Quinn for the week, and she's going to take it from here.
Thank you, Mr. Bean. Can you hear me okay, sir?
Yes, ma'am, loud and clear.
Well, I wish I was unavailable this morning because I wish I was in San Antonio with all of you guys that are there because that's obviously the best place to be. But I'm grateful for the opportunity to serve the platform today with you guys. So thank you so much, Mr. Bean, for the opportunity to serve. And thank you for creating this platform. You and Mrs. Bean, you go above and beyond always, always, always for your people. And so that is why we are more than happy to go above and beyond for you guys because you are so amazing and just love us so much. I'm very grateful to be here today, this morning. For those of you guys that remember the training Mr. Bean did, and he talked about the postcards and everything. This is a mug that I was sent. Okay, you talk about crying, you missed a trip. They sent you a mug, and Mrs. Bean had she had all the other people that were like in my market that like are my friends that qualified to go. She had them all like kind of write something like, "Hey, we picked your mug out together." I was like, so I just want to show y'all, don't miss, don't miss the trips. Don't miss the things that they put out there to do because I promise you, you'll be sitting over there like. So anyway, I just had to share. I'm like, I used this cup. I pulled this cup out for a reason. So there that is. But anyways, great morning to each and every one of you. Super excited to be here with you. So I would absolutely love to start with your wins, your reflections for this week. Exactly, Laura Johnson, you should have been here. You do not want to get caught in that should have been here video, uh, postcard, gift. You don't want to get that. You want to be on the side sending the you should have been here. Trust me and believe me when I say that. So absolutely. Let me make sure I have my um uh, chat open. So let's see.
I recruited you a couple of co-hosts there, Carly. So as they jump on, you got Miss Laura, Miss Carla, Miss Sabrina. Even though she's riding, if she sees somebody head popping there, she can pluck them in. So that way you can go ahead and focus on what you do best.
I appreciate that, sir. Thank you so much. And thank you to those of you that are serving and helping me out this morning. I appreciate that. So I know you guys normally, I was gonna say, wait a minute. I know the hands are normally up by now. Hold on a second. So let's see. My almost named twin, Miss Carla Wynn, what you got for us this morning?
Okay, so one of my wins for this week is that I had an event at my job where we were really struggling for a moment to get a good number of employers to show up for our internship and career fair. So our goal was 25. We got 21 employers to register and to come. And then we had about 70 students to participate in the internship and career fair. And that was a big win because initially we only had a small number and we're afraid we may have to cancel it. So, that was huge for myself and for my new supervisor. So thank you very much for allowing me to share that.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. Thank you for sharing. And that's so important to make sure that you have those opportunities available. So that's a great win. And thank you for sharing that this morning. Miss Sarah George, what you got for us today?
Hi, Miss Carla. Thank you for doing the training today. And if you hear rustling in the background, my dog is outside playing in the leaves and stuff like that. But
I understand that.
basically,
I understand that.
I think you were muted. Hold on.
Oh, I was just saying I absolutely understand the dog in the background situation. I have a little French bulldog, so I sometimes she gets a little crazy. I'm like, please don't let her act up right now.
But my win for this week was that our ads have finally started taking off. We had 3 appointments with a mentor this week, 1 site visit booked. Other business owners who are actually interested in looking in solar, and one of them has a commercial property opportunity as well before we go for the sale. And that's my win for the week. So thank you for letting me speak.
I love it. Thank you for sharing that. And I gotta tap into those ads. I gotta check that out for sure. So that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. And for being out there and making it happen. Let's see, Philip.
Carly, everyone. So just want to sum up everything and getting out of your comfort zone. So this week was a special week because Tony that I brought on a few weeks ago, he had to throw over Mr. Bean, and we had his launch call this Thursday, and it went well. Of course, this first launch call, so it was good. It was exciting, and that adrenaline rush that you get when you're actually live before people. But yeah, I was happy with that. Appreciate Mr. Bean for doing that on our behalf there. And Miss Angel, Rockstar Angel, trained us up. We did some role plays, Mr. Tony and myself, and it was good. And basically, at the end of the launch call, Tony's like, I don't think I did so well. It's like this is what you're gonna learn being a part of Build, getting out of your comfort zone. And I was talking to myself when I was like, get out of your comfort zone, because you have to start the process. Like Jeff Olson says, start the process, and when you start the process, you get better and better and better. So, and then another thing, I actually got another solar deal with Mr. Tony Dinner in California. We had another homeowner, and now pretty much I did 3 deals now. So I'm happy with what's been happening, and thank you for allowing me to share.
I love it. I love it. Yes, your comfort zone is your broke zone, right? So we got to get out of our comfort zones, right? It's never going to feel comfortable until we get uncomfortable. So kudos to you for stepping out there and doing that. And congratulations to Tony for having an awesome launch call, and for the sales you guys are having. That's amazing. I love to hear that. Love to celebrate that. So congratulations to you guys. Let's see here. Sabrina.
Hi, Carly. Thank you for allowing me to speak this morning. It is huge about getting out of your comfort zone. This week, one of my teammates called me up and said, "Hey, I need this presentation done at 8:30 in the morning." I called and got some guidance, and I was told, "You're going to do this." And it's like, okay, no worries. So, of course, I get up like I'm going to work, got myself all prettied up and got my clothes on, got in front of the computer, and got a call and said it was canceled. And so the first thing I told my partner was like, somebody's going to hear me present today. I don't care who it is, somebody's going to hear me present. So I ended up presenting to her and my husband, and it was like, okay. It's not as hard as we think. It's just getting over the hump, right? But that was one of my wins this week. I actually did a presentation, and then we also got a new team member. So we're working on our 4x4, and also we've been in contact with people in Dubai and in Ghana that are coming on board by the end of the week. So we're rocking and rolling and getting those 4x4s out the way.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And I've been there before where you get the phone call and it's like, and then you realize, oh, wait, no, I am going to have to do this presentation. And you're like, and I'll be honest, I think the reason why sometimes we all get nervous, I know for me, it's because you just want to do a great job, right? Because you know that people's business, like, especially if you're doing the presentation for like the team, the big team or something like that, it's you know, or even for your brand new team member to help them out, right? You want to serve them well, right? You want to make sure that you're doing your best because you want them to have a great outcome. And so I think that's really what makes us all kind of nervous sometimes to do that. But it is, once we just do it, and the more you just do it, it does become just more comfortable and more, I don't even want to say comfortable, but you just become more one with it. It just becomes easier to kind of suppress those nerves and kind of realize, okay, hey, I got this, right? It's those reps over and over again. So congratulations to you for knocking that presentation out and for doing it anyways, right? Because some people would say, oh, hey, okay, they told me I don't, like, whoo, now I don't have to do it. But you're like, nope, I'm ready. I'm going to go ahead and do this now. So that way I don't have this feeling, I don't have this moment again. So now you're ready to go. You're ready to take action, excuse me, and knock out those 4x4s. And I love to hear all this international growth too. That's so exciting. Congratulations to you. And I believe, is that Miss Angel Tran back there in the background in your video? Hey.
Yes, it is.
I want to share. I get to share.
Oh, she wants to share.
Oh yeah, of course she can share.
Oh, that's your. Can you hear me here?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
I can
Or
hear
no?
you. Yep.
Okay, great. Hi, everyone. Thank you. So, first of all, I want to thank Mr. and Mrs. B for this platform and our amazing Miss Carly Gwen. I'm excited to hear about what you're going to be training on us for today. But for my wins, for this week, my team has lots of wins and they'll share their own. But for my personal, when I got this playbook, I said, I'm going to do my 4x4 brand new as a new person. So I'm excited. I'm signing my a brand new first one on my 4x4 tomorrow and 3 more coming soon. But like Sabrina, I'm already got Philippines on the way, South Africa is on the way, Nigeria is on the way. So we're about to go international very quickly. And so that's what's so exciting about right now and where we are is that we got this playbook and all my team members that are plugging into this playbook are really filling it out. And I love the excitement and the growth that's coming out of it.
I just love that, Angel. Look, I'm over here like, let me not cry with excitement for this amazing person who just has all these awesome things happening. You know, when you see people who always give and always serve and always do and are always doing things from a selfless point, and you see them having wins and going out there, and you know, Angel is always one to be out there in action. Like, she's like the nicest, sweetest person, but don't get it twisted. She is like the silent killer. She is out there, like, you know, taking action. She is out there, you know, taking no's and making it happen. And I just like, it just makes me so excited to see someone who has always put the big team first and who has always been there to step in and help, no matter who it is, right? When she gets the call, she's like, hey, what can I do? How can I help? Who can I serve? So to see her having so much success, to see you winning so big, it just like makes my heart so happy. And I can't wait to see all of the amazing wins that are coming for you, but also for your team. If you are on her team, like, just know that your leader is like no other, right? She is following Mr. and Mrs. Bean in their footsteps. And when I say she takes what they say and she walks that out, like, that's what she does. And I just have so much love for her, and I just am so excited, and thank you for sharing your wins. Let's see, J&J Meadows.
Hey, good morning, Carla. This is Jim Meadows of the J&J.
Awesome. Good morning.
Good morning. Hey, man, I'll tell you, I just appreciate having this call this morning. I needed this call this morning. But I'm still reeling from the cash flow tour. I didn't know that San Antonio was a fourth leg of that tour. So I apologize for not being there this morning, but would love to be there. You know, I was challenged by Sam during that tour it was a simple question, who are you? And at the time I responded with my current job, right? But I tapped into 30 years of state employment here in Colorado. And when I tapped into that network of people, realizing that that's still a network of people that I had the opportunity to approach with this business, man, my mind just kind of blew up because I realized that I'm more than what I am currently, but I have all these past networks that I need to tap into. So I appreciate that simple question of who are you? And other than that, just I love the intro with the video of the boat. I know that wasn't taking place this weekend, but I want to be on that boat, not watching it from a video. So I appreciate your intro, Carla, and looking forward to your training.
Yes, thank you so much for sharing. And you definitely want to be on that boat. And we had that was such an amazing trip, such an amazing experience. And again, it just goes to show like Mr. and Mrs. Bean are always looking to see what they can create for us, how they can help us win, what they can do to help push us forward, not just from a training standpoint or tools, but also the events and the experiences. That was like I'm not going to say a once in a lifetime opportunity because that's the kind of lifestyle that we're creating for an all the time situation. I'm speaking yachts into my everyday situation, not once in a lifetime, right? But it was such an extraordinary experience. And I know that they're going to be creating events like that for all of us in the future. And again, you don't want to miss those things. You don't want to miss out on those opportunities. We were out there for the whole day just cruising. We had food and music, and it's literally the largest yacht in the Cancun like port or harbor. It's the biggest one. So everybody that was going by that thought they had a nice yacht, right? They saw us and it's like, oh wait, who are those people? What are they doing? And just to have the opportunity to collaborate and spend time with like-minded leaders who are looking to grow their business, grow their wealth. It was just an amazing experience. And so I'm grateful to have been there, but also to be able to share a little glimpse of that, and what I know is to come with that in the future for you guys. And yeah, tapping into your networks of people is huge. Thinking about who do you know, right? Who do you know that does this? Who do you know that's a teacher? Who do you know that is a contractor? Who do you know that's a roofer? Tapping into those networks of people, they all need, like, everybody needs clean water, right? Everybody's looking to save money on their energy bills, on any of their bills, right? Everybody needs, security systems. Everybody either does right now or is going to need one of the things or all of the things that we have. And so really thinking about and just reaching out to and making contact with people who are in your network that have done business with you before, that's huge because you already have a warm connection with that person. And so thank you for sharing that win of who are you, and yeah, thank you for sharing this morning. Miss Laura Johnson, what you got for Miss Laura? Was on the yacht. She knows.
I absolutely was on the yacht, and if I could be on the next one, I will be on the next one, because like you were saying at the beginning, Carly, you cannot miss these opportunities, because these opportunities are really what are grooming you and growing you and maturing you and preparing you for that which you desire. You say you want to be wealthy, you say you want to have financial freedom. Well, you got to pay the price. And going through the theme this morning has been comfort zone and getting out of the comfort zone. Well, that's the price. That's one of the prices that you have to pay, is to get out of the comfort zone. But first, I'd just like to say, I appreciate so much Mr. and Mrs. Bean for the system that they've created for us, because the process that we have to go through is the system. And if we stick to the system and stop thinking that we know better than the system because we may know an individual and we know how they think, no, the system supersedes all of that. because the system is designed for us to win. It's designed for our success. And when we stick to the system, then we get what we need. So my wins for the week, number one was I had the honor and privilege of Mr. Samuel Bean being able to do a launch call for one of my team members. And that was Mr. William Ator. And that launch call, we had over 40 people on the launch call, and we have gotten signups from there. One of the new team members, I believe, is on the call today. Miss Margaret Ajawin out of Iowa, and she is so very excited. And she also has begun to share our opportunities. So she has invited her good friend to the business opportunity, and we're working with her to get her started. That was a huge, huge, huge win. And ladies and gentlemen, you have to earn Mr. Bean's time. Don't take that lightly. Don't take it for granted. You have to earn Mr. Bean's time. So you have to rise to the standard that is necessary to earn Mr. Bean's time. And then my other huge win was I had another honor and privilege to be able to present for the company this past Monday. And according to Mr. and Mrs. Bean, it went well. So that's the thermometer.
It didn't go well. You blew that thing out the box. You blew that thing out the water. You killed that thing. I'm sorry. Hey, I'm gonna have to break in because you're not telling the truth. We said you slaughtered it. That's what we said. It's okay. You ain't got to be humble. Tell the people the truth. Tell the people what they want. They seen it. They seen it.
Well, Mr. Bean, it's only because of you and Mrs. Bean and all the lessons that I've taken in and all the challenges that I've gone through. And you know, it's just when you go through the tough times and you face them, and it creates a heat. It creates a friction in your business. And that friction leads to momentum. So those are my wins. And I'm just so happy to be part of this team and part of this family and in a position to be able to grow under the guidance of Mr. and Mrs. Bean.
Well, Miss Laura, I hope y'all caught that. She dropped a lot of nuggets there, right? I hope y'all were picking all those little nuggets up, right? So first of all, talking about paying the price, right? Being at the events, paying the price to do what you need to do for your success. I was listening to an audio last night where this gentleman was talking about how if you ask for everything, if you received right now everything that you asked for, would you be ready? You know, you think about people who win the lottery and then like 6 months later, they're worse off than they were before. And it's because they weren't prepared, right? They weren't prepared for the blessings that they were asking for. And that we have to pay the price. We have to become the person to lead a huge team, right? If that's our goal, we have to become the person to, you know, attract all of the leads to us, to attract all of the, you know, the business growth to us. We have to become that person. We have to pay that price. We have to do the thing. We have to get uncomfortable, like Philip said. We have to show up for the events, like Laura was talking about, you know. And sometimes that means, you know, sacrifice. Sometimes that means it's not always going to be easy. It's not always going to be fun, right? Even though, you know, I love to have fun. If you know my personality, right? That's my primary motivation in life. I love having fun, but everything that's necessary, everything that's required, as Mr. Bean always says, is not always going to be fun, and it's not always going to feel good. You have to be willing to pay the price to have the life that you desire to have. And so that was huge. And then congratulations on such an awesome launch call for your new team member. I love to hear that. That's so exciting. I love celebrating everyone's wins that you're having and seeing everybody win and getting new team members and making sales. It's amazing. And then the biggest nugget of all is earning Mr. Bean's time. You know, Mr. and Mrs. Bean are so amazing, and they're such humble servant leaders, and they're just like, we don't call him the people's champ for no reason, right? It's because he's always in there just looking to find ways to help people win, and he has such a heart for people. I think sometimes we take for granted you know, the opportunity to be able to work with him because he's so real and so down to earth and so just ready to get in there and help everybody win, that we take for granted the value of his time, right? And how many people all over the world soon enough, right, are going to be fighting for his time. And you have to value that time. If you don't have value, and this is going to lead right into, and I know we still have a couple people with reflections, but the training of edification, if you don't have value for Mr. Bean's time and have respect for that and have, you know, recognize that it's not just something that's just freely given, or if it is something that he chooses to freely give to you, don't take that for granted. Recognize the blessing that you've been given. Recognize the favor that you have earned for whatever reason, and make sure that you you know, that you share that gratefulness, because it's he doesn't have to do it, right? He doesn't have to be traveling all over to everybody's cities and having these events. He doesn't have to be doing launch calls and doing all that stuff. Like, he's doing that because he wants to see us win, right? So don't take that for granted, because if you do, then how do you think your people are going to treat you, right? If you don't have respect for Mr. Bean's time, why do you think that the people that you're working with would have respect for your time? And if you don't start off with that foundation, everything that you're building is just going to crumble, right? Because you have no structure, you have no respect, you have no foundation to build upon, right? Because no one, you know, everybody just thinks that they're the deal. If everybody thinks they're the big show, right? And I get it, you know, but that's not where it's at. So again, thank you for sharing that, Laura, and thank you for being an example of that. And I appreciate you for sharing. Kathy.
Good morning, Ms. Carly. Thank you for hosting the platform this morning. Thank Mr. Bean for the opportunity. And I just want to share that my win this week is being an overcomer by the blood of the Lamb and the word of my testimony. I don't even understand what is happening, but I have been attacked from every end from the moment I began in this company. But that's my win for this week, is being an overcomer. And I'm going to continue to stand flat-footed with my shoulders squared back until victory is prevailed in my life with this company.
Absolutely. Well, first of all, thank you for sharing that. And I completely understand. How's that saying go? That when you start something big, you're going to be met with violent opposition, right? It's just the universe saying, hey, you know, how bad do you really want it? Are you serious about this? Right? It's part of that paying the price, right? So I know that you are going to stick with that and just overcome things, and that's how you're going to create a huge testimony, right? You don't have testimonies without tests. But I totally understand where you're coming from with that, because I definitely have experienced some tests recently myself, and so I absolutely get it. And I'll be sending you my thoughts and my prayers, and you know, just my encouraging energy your way to help continue to overcome and get past whatever is going on, so you can push through and have the wins that you're looking to have. Let's see here, Brenda.
Good morning, everyone. Hope you have a great day today, and thanks for hosting today. Nice to see you and everybody else. I am excited because we're working on a deal this week with Matthew, so I'm really excited about that. Also, I've been kind of networking just everywhere I'm going, and I got some good leads out of that. We're working on, you know, I'm trying to do the 3-ways with them, so I know they're going to be coming on board. And then also got some water leads that hopefully I can get going on this week. So excited about that too. And I got my 4x4 ready to go, so I got it filled out, calling it to existence. It's already done. So also I got to serve the team this week and doing the Spanish call. We'll be doing it for you guys once a week, so I was very excited about that. And those are all my wins for this week, so let's just keep building.
Awesome. Love to hear it. Thank you for sharing, Brenda. And congrats on doing your first Spanish presentation for the big team. Love to see that. Love to see that. and for all of your leads and everything that you have coming in. That's amazing. Again, I love to see that networking, like what she said, networking where she's at, right? That's a big thing, right? Just making sure that you're open to making contact with people wherever you're going, right? We meet people all the time when we're out at the grocery store, when we're out, going to dinner, when we're out, shopping or whatever we're doing. We're always like, later today, I have to go and I actually dropped my cell phone yesterday and it totally shattered on the back. So I have to go to Apple today. And I'm like, that's okay, because I'm gonna meet some people while I'm at Apple, right? I'm gonna be able to talk to some people and connect with some people while I'm out at the mall and doing that. And but the thing is that you have to be open to that, right? You have to make sure that your mind is intentional about making those connections. So thank you for sharing that, Brenda. And I encourage everybody, as you're out and about doing your thing, whatever you're doing, just look to make connections and make friends, and meet with people. Don't just throw up on them all that in 1 second, right? Just make that connection and then build on that to connect with them about the different products and services, business opportunity, whatever it is. So thank you for sharing. Solar Vic.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Of course, you call my name, and then she jumps up on my back. So good morning, guys. I'm here with my number one inspiration, and she's checking out her little show. But we're about to go make some pancakes. But I just wanted to sit down, baby. Sit down right here. Sit down right there, please. I just wanted to, give you two things, and also want to touch on something that somebody said a little while ago. But the opposition.
Vic, you sound really muffled all of a sudden. You were really clear, and now I can't really hear you.
Can you hear me now? Is that better?
Yeah.
Is that better? Is that better?
Yes.
Is that better now? Okay, great. So I was just saying the oppositions are always coming. That's just a test. I believe it. I believe that those are the ones that those oppositions, they come so big and they come so often, and you think to yourself, why am I hitting this wall like this? And that's just the price you're going to have to pay, guys. And I just wanted to say, don't pay attention to it, but let it feed you to keep on, because the bigger the prize is coming for all your, all those challenging days. So I drove an hour yesterday to meet someone, and canceled on me as I was pulling up. So I got on my GPS. And the I looked for the closest Home Depot. So I went straight to the Home Depot and met a couple of gentlemen, got a couple of numbers, in a rush, got the information and went about my way. And then I sat in the car, made some calls, and I'm meeting with a real estate collective on Tuesday. It's been my third touch with them. Feeling very confident. I think they're just trying to figure out how they're going to bring it to the rest of their brokers and how they want to utilize it. They were very excited, not only about the solar, but they were very, very excited about Ripple, excited about the water. Actually, the top guy I was talking to was actually in high-end water sales, filtration systems 15, 20 years ago, and that's how we got into sales. So looking forward to that conversation. Hopefully we'll be doing a three-way with Mr. Bean right after that. And that's all I have for you guys. Thank you. Thank you very much.
There was a lot in that, right? So there was a lot of nuggets in there too, right? Guys, I don't know about you, but if I had drove an hour and then this person canceled 15 minutes, like naturally, just naturally, you're like, what? Wait, forget my nugget for a second. I see Mr. Bean's hand up. Mr. Bean?
I just want to share my wins for the week. Hey, I did a couple of lunch calls this week. I made at least 20 phone calls a day, 4 days of the week. And I got a chance to sit down at Chamaguchi's, which y'all should go check a Chamaguchi's out if you have one. It's a Brazilian restaurant. It's the best of all the Brazilian restaurants, trust. And with two good people. We have an event here in San Antonio that we didn't have a location for because nobody was available. And I ended up calling an old friend and that I did business with in the past. They allowed us to come in and use their unit. That's why I took them to Tamaguchi's, right? And so we got us a place to do the business event. I got a chance to connect with my friends who own stuff out here. So I might have me some new business leads. So hey, I appreciate it. And I'm gonna just tell you, all y'all who are presenting, keep on presenting. Because we want to flood the actual showcases with nothing but talent. We want to flood the showcases with people who are going through, every learning lesson that they can when it comes to presenting over time. Like Laura says, she's put her time in. Carly has always been one of our top presenters as well, and we've always led the way and done major things. So we're looking for more and more and more presenters and trainers. Y'all will see Carly out very, very soon. Y'all will see some other people coming out as well. So go out there and present so we can highlight you guys. But those are my wins. I'm about to do an event here, and I appreciate each and every last one of you guys for everything. You guys inspire me.
Well, you inspire us, Mr. Bean. You see out there, he's not just talking about it, right? He's always out there leading by example. Mr. Bean is always, he's never going to ask us to do something that he hasn't done or isn't willing to do himself. He's always out there leading by example, always out there taking action first. And so thank you, sir, for jumping on. Thank you for being here. Thank you for the platform. And thank you for sharing your wins, because that inspires us, right? I don't know about you guys, but I'm fired up, right? I love these calls because it really shows you like it gives you some insight. Like, you don't feel alone, right? You know, there's other people out there that are having the same questions, the same concerns, maybe the same obstacle, but they also have ways that they're overcoming, right? And so you can get on this call and be fired up and be encouraged and be excited, because you know what? If you're having, I think it was Jay that said, he needed the call today. And, either you need the call or the call needs you, right? We need the stories that everyone's having of having great launch calls and overcoming fears and stepping out and doing something that they're uncomfortable doing. And they had this win and that win and this sale and that sale, because when you're having that moment where you are maybe discouraged, or maybe you had a challenging moment, like Vic said, he drove an hour and, the 15 minutes out, it's like, hey, I can't make it. And it's easy in those moments to say, you know what? I drove all this way, waste of time, waste of gas. But the other way to look at it is, you know what? That person was just getting me to this area to get me to this other location for me to meet who I actually need to meet, right? And you see Vic said he looked up the closest Home Depot, and boom, taking action. So his hour, his gas, his time was not in vain, right? And Mr. Bean, you heard him say they didn't have a location for the event, right? So what did he do? He didn't sit there like, well, we're just gonna have to cancel. He's like looking up, okay, hey, let me connect with somebody, let me see, who do I know, right? Who do I know? And connected with somebody. And now you see, not only does he have somewhere that the event is, but also making connections to open up new opportunities. So it's all in your mindset and in your perspective of how you're looking at things. You can either look at the glass as half empty, or you can look at it as half full. And that's going to determine, I think it was the late, great Jim Rohn that said, it's not the blowing of the wind, but the set of the sails that's going to determine the direction of where you're going. Because life is going to happen to us all. It's going to happen to everybody, right? There's always going to be something. It's whether or not you allow that something to get you off track, or if you allow that something to be the reason why you stay on track. So I do see J&J Meadows. What you got for us again?
Sorry, Carly. Yeah, just one more thing here. So in personal development, I was reading Brian Carruthers, right? Building an Empire. And I have to share with you just this couple of sentences. It says, you will have ruts where you feel you can't catch a break. I've had weeks in a row when I could not recruit anyone, began to get down on myself, questioned if I could do this. That's when you must call your most successful upline. Well, in this case, that is Sam B. But every week he provides us the ability to tap back into the system through these calls, through these trainings, And so that's why it's full circle to, I needed the call this morning, and here it is, right? And you're doing an awesome job with it. I appreciate the leadership of this business and the success we're going to have. So thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing that. And yes, the system is everything. You heard Laura talk about it as well. The system is everything, right? That's why it was created, because it's going to give you what you need, right? As leaders, we can't be everywhere all the time, but the system can be everywhere all the time, right? So imagine if the system wasn't here, and because Mr. Bean is doing the training in San Antonio, this call isn't here. Well, if you're not in San Antonio, then you're not getting your cup filled if you need your cup filled today, right? You're not sharing that testimony to that other person that maybe is what keeps them encouraged to keep going or make one more phone call, right? So the system is everything. And that's why it's so important to not only make sure you're plugged into the system, but to make sure that your people are plugging into the system and letting them know the value of the system that's there to support them. Well, let me have William, and then we'll go ahead and start the training.
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you today, guys? I hope everyone is good.
We're awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, like the way you put it, the system is really what important. You know, now I'm not in my house. I'm not in front of my computer, but my phone will allow me to be with you today and to get whatever I will get, you see, because of the system. So our system, very great system. You know, 2 weeks ago, Mr. Samuel, he was making presentation to my group. And today I have one of the new join us, her name called Margaret. You know, she's Margaret. I'm in Houston, by the way, and Margaret, she's in Iowa. But because of the system, the Zoom, anyone in all in the country can join us, and that system is very powerful system, and we need to utilize it in very good way so we can grow our business. Thank you very much, sister.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Well, that's an awesome testimony, and welcome, Margaret, to the call. I'm assuming this is your first call. So welcome to the call today. And yeah, that's why the system is important, because again, it's a way for your people to be plugged into the information, to be plugged into the stories, right? Because facts tell, but stories sell, right? So hearing the stories of what other people are doing and the successes that they're having, it's the encouragement, and it adds to the belief that you have to keep going and to keep moving forward towards your goals and dreams. And it gives you the confidence to know, hey, you know what? I'm in the right place at the right time with the right people. So thank you so much for sharing that. So ladies and gentlemen, we're going to talk this morning about something that's one of my favorite things. You probably, if you know me, if you have been around for any period of time, you probably already know what I'm going to talk about. It's one of my favorite things. And actually two of my favorite things. We're going to talk about edification and the personality colors. Okay. So let's talk about why edification is important. Okay. So edification is so important because, again, it's that foundation, like I mentioned earlier, right? If you're building a house, you have to have a strong foundation, okay? And the edification is the foundation that you're building everything on. The edification for your leadership, the edification for for the business itself, for the opportunity, for the system, for the calls. If people don't understand why it's valuable, they're not going to, it's easy for them to just throw it away or toss it aside, right? They're not going to pay attention. They're not going to be tuned in and tapped in, right? And edification starts with your energy. It's what you say, it's what you don't say, it's what you do, it's what you don't do. You are setting the tone for everyone that you work with, but and for your entire team, right? People are always watching you. So what are you telling them? Like Laura said, you have to earn Mr. Bean's time. Well, if you don't have that philosophy, if you don't have that value for Mr. Bean's time, it's not going to be reflected in your group, right? It's not going to be reflected in the people that you're working with, right? Not just for Mr. Bean, for Mrs. Bean, but it's not going to be reflected towards you. If they don't respect their time, they're definitely not going to respect your time. right? So that means they're not going to have proper edification and value for your time when they're setting up three-way calls, when they're inviting for the presentation. So you don't have a strong foundation for moving your business forward because no one understands the value of what they actually have, right? The reason why people are getting on the launch calls that people are having, and they're having, the numbers that they're having is because people are showing value, right? They're having urgency, they're showing value, and people are like, hey, I don't want to miss out. I don't want to not hear about this, right? If that's not there, they're not getting on because there's 1,000 other things that could take someone's attention. Another business opportunity, something fun to do. The dog started barking. Like there's a million things. If someone doesn't understand why something is valuable, why talking to someone is valuable, why hearing a call is valuable, why attending an event is valuable, they could go in a million different directions. So you have to put your ego aside and recognize that your edification is what is going to draw people in, right? It's what is going to set the foundation for people to have value for what you're talking to them about, right? You're creating the entire experience for your prospect with your edification. You're going to dictate how much value they have for everything, for the Facebook group, right? For the Saturday calls, for the Millionaire Mentorship call, for the events, for the products and services, every single thing. You are setting the tone. You're creating that experience for your team members, for your prospects, for your customers, everything. You are the one that's setting the tone, and it all starts and ends with edification, right? So let me give you an example. And for those of you guys who maybe have heard this before, just bear with me, okay? I'm going to need your participation and be honest. How many of you guys know who Lori Grenier is? How many of you guys know who Robert Herjavec is? All right, let me move into the more knowledgeable. I see a couple hands, right? Kevin O'Leary, Mark Cuban, right? Barbara Corcoran, Damon John, right? How many of you guys know who those people are? Well, I guarantee you that prior to Shark Tank, right? Because those are the sharks. I'm seeing some thumbs up. You had no idea. I didn't know who any of those people were. Maybe Mark Cuban. I knew who he was prior to Shark Tank. Okay, maybe. But other than that, I had no idea who they were. Well, how many of you guys would agree that the Sharks are pretty phenomenal business people, right? They've done some really great things. They've accomplished some really awesome things. But when Shark Tank started, none of us knew who they were. We didn't know their accomplishment. I certainly didn't know, who Barbara Corcoran was or whatever she did, right? But when they launched Shark Tank, right, at the beginning of the show, in the entry, they had edification for each of the sharks. So you heard them rattle off some of their achievements, some of their accomplishments. Yeah, see, Carla said she knew who Damon John was before Shark Tank because he created FUBU, right? But for those that we didn't know, nobody would have watched, nobody would have cared who they were without the edification for what they had accomplished. Then when you hear, oh, hey, they sold their business for, $60 million, or they sold their business for $2 billion, or they helped to create this, like, you're hearing these stories of what they did. And it's like, oh, wait, hold on. Like, okay. And so you have value for their insight. You have value for what they're bringing to the table because you hear the edification of what they've been able to do and accomplish, right? But if you don't have that information, if you don't know what they've been able to do, you don't have any value for their time. You could walk past that person in the street and it would just be like, oh, okay, this is just another person, right? Think about that for a second. If you're not edifying your leaders properly, they could just be some random person that's just walking down the street, right? Your prospect doesn't know who you're talking about They don't know all the things that Mr. Bean has done, Mrs. Bean has done. They don't know all the things that Angel Trent has been able to do, or Laura Johnson has been able to do, or Brenda Nava has been able to do, right? They don't know all of the accomplishments that that person has been able to do, right? And achieve, and all the people that they've been able to help, unless you share that with them, right? So it's not about building that it's not about building that person up or being like, oh, so and so, you know, it's not about that. It's not about your leader's ego. It's about setting the leader up so that they can help you. Because why do I care what you have to say if I don't know why what you're saying is valuable? Especially when you're talking to people, especially when you're talking to prospects who already have a decent sized ego of their own, right? They're definitely not going to listen to somebody, right? So you have to know, you have to share with your prospects why that person is valuable, what qualifies them as the expert, right? And same thing for the products and the services and the opportunity. If you're not edifying, you know, the solar and what makes us different, if you're not edifying the opportunity and what makes us different, you know, why this is the right place to be, why this is the right leadership to work with, why we have the best system. If you're not standing like 10 toes down on the belief of that, why are they going to listen? There is, I don't, if you guys get on your phone, I'm sure if you're like me, if you like looking at personal development and look at those kinds of things, and you know, our phones listen to us now, right? So they hear you talking about wealth, or they hear you saying different things or whatever. I'm sure you see different ads all the time. Hey, this is the best way to become a millionaire in 2025. Hey, this is a great way to build. Like, there's so many things that could catch their attention. If you're not standing 10 toes down in the belief that what you have is the best thing out there, why are they going to set aside the time to listen to you and hear what you got to say? They have to feel that edification and belief oozing from you, that no, I know this is what's up. I know this is how I'm going to create wealth, right? So that is a part of that. That's a huge part. Again, it's that foundation. It's a huge part of what you're doing. Okay. Edification is also providing and protecting for your people, right? What do I mean by that? Well, when you get started, your leader provides and protects you by guiding you step by step with the system of what exactly to do, right? Making sure that you're getting added into the proper groups, making sure you know when the calls are, making sure that you have the right information, right? So they're providing and protecting for you, letting you know, hey, this is where you want to be. This is why you want to be there. This is why this is important for you to stay tapped into this. Okay. So you have to have that edification done. And making sure that you're staying plugged in, having the proper edification done when you're doing three-way calls, right? And when you're doing those lifeline calls, those three-way calls and those lifeline calls, that is what's going to help people feel connected. That's what's going to draw them into the system, right? That's like the first plugging them into the system, is that three-way call and that lifeline, because it lets them know, hey, I'm not just out here alone. I'm not just out here on this. It's not just me and Laura out here, you know. There's this whole other group of people. There's this whole network of people all over the country, and as soon enough, all over the world, who are a part of this movement, right? I'm not out here. I have a community of people that are here to support me, right? It lets them know I'm not just out here by myself. It's not just me and one other person. If you know, hey, if Carly decides she's going to disappear, I have other, you know, I have another avenue of people that's going to help me. Okay. So it lets them know, and it shows them belief, right? Your brand new person jumps onto this call and they're hearing about Brenda's wins and Philip's wins and Laura's wins and Sabrina's wins and Angel's. It's like, oh, hey, you know what? This is working. Right? But if you don't edify the system and edify the opportunity and edify and make sure that you're providing and protecting for your new people, they're not gonna prioritize 8 a.m. on a Saturday morning, 9 a.m. on a Saturday morning. Oh, well, I got other stuff to do. Man, I've been at work all week. I don't want to get up. Or, let's don't all act like we don't know those thoughts and those feelings, because I guarantee you everybody has had them at one point in time. Let's just be honest. Okay, it's okay. We can tell some truth here on the line, right? But if you understand the value of the call, then you understand and you're edifying that, then your people are going to be here. You're going to be here, right? So when you properly edify your leaders, properly edify the opportunity, you're providing and protecting for them as well. So what do I mean by that? Well, it's the tools for them to be able to go to war for you. You're providing and protecting for them so that you're making sure that their time, your leader's time isn't wasted, and you're setting the call up so that they can slam dunk the call for you when you do that three-way call properly, right? I'm not just going to let anyone take a spot on Mr. and Mrs. Bean's calendar. Like, I'm qualifying you. And I'm letting you know, like, hey, if you're late, we're not going to be able to continue with the call. And I definitely can't promise that you're not going to be able to get rescheduled. Because I don't want to block out Mr. Bean's call. I'm not want to block out something on his calendar and then have someone that's late or they cancel or they no-show. And now I'm asking him to take time off his calendar again. And that's time he could have been helping Philip or Carla or Sabrina or Bernice or Michelle, or that's time he could have been helping Angel or Sarah, Dr. Arlene. I'm not going to take time away from another person, another prospect, when my prospect didn't even have the value for his time in the first place. But see, if you properly edify and set it up, they're not only going to be on time, they're going to be early for the call. Hey, make sure you're in a quiet, when we get ready for the call, make sure it's a time when you can be in a quiet place and you're able to have your pen and notepad available, because you're definitely going to want to take some notes. So if that time isn't, if you're going to be in the car moving around, trying to grocery shop or something like that, like we just need to schedule another time, because that's not going to be a good time for the call. Sometimes we have so much edification for the prospect and we're so thirsty for the business that it's like, oh, hey, let me try to, they said they could squeeze me in. If they don't respect you and have value before they even get started, why do you think they're going to have respect and value for the leadership and the opportunity once they get started? I guarantee you that person's going to get in and do absolutely nothing if they even get in, right? Because they have no value. Or they're not going to grow a big team because they don't have value for the opportunity and the leadership, right? Now, hey, somebody's at the grocery store and they're like, hey, I'm going to be out running errands, but I'm going to make sure I pull over and I got my notepad or whatever. Like, I'm going to be ready. Okay, cool. Great. But again, don't be afraid to take it away from somebody. Don't be so thirsty for the business that you're not afraid to take it away from them. Because that's edifying the opportunity. That's edifying the opportunity to get on the call with the leadership. That's edifying the opportunity to even be a part of the business. Like you shouldn't be thirsty for them. They should be thirsty for you. Hey, how do I get a part? How can I make, how can I get a part of this high ticket sales business? How can I get in? Hey, how are you guys making these sales? How are we making this happen? Just because we're at the beginning and we're building, have the vision for where we're going, right? To have value for that, right? When you don't edify your leaders, it's like you're sending them out into war and you've given them no armor, no weapons, just tossing them out there with no protection at all. Like you just, and really they shouldn't even take the call, right? If you haven't properly edified, they shouldn't even take the three-way call, because it's not going to be valuable because you've put no value on it. So the edification, it's not for you. It's not for them. It's for you. It's for your business because it's laying that foundation of value. Okay. And then edifying the events, right? Edifying and promoting the events, not just announcing things, right? When you just announce that something's happening, you're just announcing it. You're not edifying it. There's no value. Hey, this call happens on Saturday mornings. Yeah. It's at 9 a.m. Central Standard Time or 9 a.m. Eastern Time, 8 a.m. Central Standard Time. Yeah. Here's a list of calls you should be on. Like, I'm not getting on that call. But if you talk about the value, if you promote the value, if you edify the calls, the Millionaire Mentorship call, this call, then people are gonna be like, oh, hey, I don't want to miss that. They're gonna put it in their calendar, right? That's the difference, right? And when you think about, like, again, think about brands that have a lot of value. You know, you think about companies like Hermes. You think about companies like Apple. You think about companies like Louis Vuitton. They protect their brands fiercely because it creates extreme value, right? Like, you don't see Hermes out there, oh, please come in and buy a bag. Oh, please, I can meet you wherever. You can talk. Like, they make you go through a process of buying other things. They make you court them to even buy the Birkin bag, which is the bag everybody wants, right? And then they're going to charge you 5 figures, 6 figures to even get the bag. But they're going to make you spend money with them and court them before you can even get it. Like, let's just say I won the lottery today and I decided, hey, I want to go in and buy a Birkin bag. They're not going to let me do that. They don't know me. I don't have relationship with them, right? They haven't taught me yet how to treat them. Right? So I have to, they're teaching me to edify them because they're not just letting me purchase from them whatever I want, right? And I can't just go in like Walmart and get it anytime, right? So they're teaching me how to treat them. The edification that you give to the business, to the leadership, to the system, it's you teaching your people the value to have for the opportunity, the value to have for your time. And if you don't teach them how to treat you, how to treat your leaders, how to treat the opportunity, they're going to treat you any old kind of way. Okay? But those brands that have that high value, they don't let you do that, right? So are you thinking about Build, that it's a $1 billion brand? Are you thinking about Build like it has that much value? Because those companies and those businesses, unless you have stock in them, they're not changing your life, but Build has the opportunity to change your life. Right? Last time I checked, unfortunately, Hermes isn't cutting me a check. You know, Apple isn't cutting me a check. I hope they don't ask me to spend some money today when I go in there to fix my phone. But they're probably going to try to upsell me. But anyways, you know, they're not, unfortunately, I wasn't there in the beginning with Apple to be able to invest or whatever. They're not cutting me a check, but we put so much value on these people or on these brands, you know, celebrities or athletes or whatever, that they're not adding any value to our lives other than to entertain us. But yet we won't take the time to edify leaders and edify a business that can actually change and transform your life and create wealth for you and your family. Right? Right, exactly. J&J says the #1 installer in America. Right. Are you edifying Freedom Forever? Hey, that's who we're partnered with. That's who we're working with when you're talking to people about solar. Think about that, guys. You know, sometimes people get in their head, they get in their feelings about edification and they miss it. Right? It's not about swooping the leader's head up, right? That's your own misconception. It's about you setting the tone and setting the value, setting the foundation for how much value someone has for who they're talking to, who they have the opportunity to work with, right? Okay, so I encourage you guys when you're thinking about edification, because we're all growing, right? We're all growing our teams, we're presenting, we're growing our business and our organizations. So think about putting your list of edification bullet points together. I think Mr. Bean already told us all to have that available. Think about putting that together so that when you're working with people, you can send them your bullet points. So they have that, so they know, and they can be practicing with those so that they can just rattle them. When they're talking to someone, they know your bullet points of accomplishment, right? Like as they're talking to someone, hey, you know what? Angel Tran, where I have the opportunity to work with Miss Angel Tran, and she's one of the fastest growing leaders in the company. You know, she's out here helping people grow their organizations across the world, or across the country, but also across the globe. But she's also a servant leader, out there helping people. She loves to help people and serve. And I'm just so excited and grateful that I have the opportunity to work with her. Let me see if I can get a moment of her time. I know she's booked and busy. She's out here. She's got appointments all over. I don't know. I can't guarantee I can get a couple minutes of her time. But if I can, let me see if I can get her. Now, of course, you've already pre-booked this time with Miss Tran, right? But because you're comfortable with the bullet points, and I literally just rattled that off the top of my head, I don't I don't have something specific for Miss Angel Tran in front of me right now, but that's just off the top of my head. Some things I know about her. But you want to have those bullet points from her. You know, reach out to her, ask her for those bullet points. Ask your leaders, hey, can you please send me your edification bullet points? So that way you can be comfortable with those bullet points as you're talking to people and setting up those three-way calls. You can be very familiar with that information. So that way you're able to not feel like you're reading something. It doesn't feel like this uncomfortable thing that you're doing, right? So write those out. So some things you want to think about for your bullet points, you know, it's basically things that you've accomplished, right? Now you want to also kind of hit on the different colors, and I'll share those with you here in just a second. But you want to hit on the different color points, the color personality colors in your edification. But if you don't have a lot of things that you've accomplished yet in this business, pull from things that you've done in life. You know, do you have a successful background in real estate? You know, when I first started doing edification bullet points for myself, I would say, hey, you know, she has a successful background in makeup artistry, you know, working in the fashion industry and some film industry, you know, different things like that. Pull from those things. Like for instance, you know, you hear me talk about in Mr. Bean's intro that he's a family man, right? So that hits for people that are yellow personality colors, and we'll go over those in a second. You know, that's going to touch on, you know, people that care about people, and you know, they care about the world, and, you know, that family is important to them. You know, you hear me talk about that he has a successful background in, that he's a loving and devoted husband and father. You know, think about things that you've accomplished. You know, do you have a background in the military? Have you achieved something in business? Are you a sought after trainer and speaker in your current industry, right? If you think about it enough, you'll be able to come up with a couple bullet points. Have you already got your 4x4? You know, some people don't think that's a bullet point to edify, but it is, right? Are you already Builder 500, right? You know, were you able to, you know, have you knocked out, he's been able to, you know, qualify to be a mentor in the solar system. You know, just think about different bullet points that you have, and get with your leaders and let them help you to customize and create your edification bullet points so that you have that and you're able to send that out and share it with your team, the people that you're working with, and the other leaders. So if they happen to be hosting a call for you, they can have those bullet points ready to go and be practicing with that, right? Because again, you don't want it to come across like you're searching for the information or you're reading the information. Like, can you imagine, let me pull it up really quick. Can you imagine if this is how I introduced Mr. Bean? The person that I'm speaking today is a family man, a military veteran, a successful entrepreneur for 25 years. He's earned millions of dollars in 3 different industries and come out of retirement because this will be the 4th industry. Like, do you think I believe anything that I'm saying? No. It's like she's clearly reading something. She's not excited about it. Exactly. The snooze face. Exactly. Like clearly I'm not excited about it. Clearly I'm reading it. Clearly I don't believe it. But it's impactful because when I say it to you, you believe that I believe it. Now I do believe it, but I'm very comfortable with the intro. I'm very comfortable with the edification because I've been doing it for a long time. And because I know that what I'm saying about Mr. Bean is the truth. And I don't have a problem edifying him and Mrs. Bean because I know who they are as people. I know that that's like when I first did it, it was the system, right? I knew that's what, that's what you're supposed to do in the system. I saw them edifying their leaders. So why would I not do the same for them, right? But over time, they've shown me that that's who they are. So now I can really edify with full on heart because I know that it's the truth, right? So when you practice with your edification and your intros and you spend time with it, it's going to feel, yes, authentic. It's going to feel, people are going to feel that energy. So you want to take time and you want to practice with that. You want it to become one with you. So that way people feel that from you. And then you'll always be ready, right? Not practicing and not being prepared to edify your leaders and to edify the opportunity. It's de-edification. Remember what I said, it's not just what you say and it's not just what you do, but it's also what you don't say and it's what you don't do, right? If you're not promoting for the calls, if you're not promoting for the events, if you're not edifying your leaders, you're de-edifying them. If you're not promoting that value, you're saying, hey, there's no value. Or if you're doing it just like what I just did, reading that, like, yeah, I think I can, sorry. Yeah, let me see, I can get, like if I'm working with Laura, okay, if I'm working with Ms. Johnson, okay, and again, I'm calling her Ms. Johnson because she's the leadership that I'm working with, and I want the prospect that I'm talking to have respect for her. If I just call her Laura, it's like, oh, she's just the same as me. So it's not that she told me, oh, you have to call me Ms. Johnson. But if I'm working with her and she's taking time out of her day to help me, I want whoever I'm talking to have respect for her because then I know what she's doing to help me is going to be effective, right? So if I just call and I'm like, yeah, let me see, hold on, let me just see, can I get Laura on the line? Yeah, I think she's probably free. I talked to her earlier and she was just, whatever, like, and you're not having any value. Like, hey, Laura, yeah, Laura, this is Brenda. Brenda, this is Laura. What's she supposed to do with that? But if I'm like, hey, Sabrina, I'm working with Ms. Johnson. She's one of the top leaders in her market. She's helping to really grow this business all over the country. I'm really excited that I have the opportunity to work with her and the other leaders we're working with. She's plugged into this system. She knows exactly all the ins and outs of what we're doing. Let me see if I can get a minute of her time really quick. Just to introduce you to her. I can't promise. I don't know if she'll be available. And probably if she is, we just have like 5 minutes, maybe. Let me see if she's available. Miss Johnson, are you there? Sabrina, this is Miss Johnson. Miss Johnson, this is Sabrina. And then guess what I'm doing? Mute. Don't then introduce them to your leader and then and then you're over there. Oh yeah, also tell them about such and such. Well, constantly, and no, put them on the phone, make the connection, the strong connection, the edified 3-way call, and then mute. And probably you want to take notes on what they're saying, right? So you want to have those edification bullet points so that you can rattle them off. Again, I didn't have anything specific written up for Laura. I was just off the top of my head, some things I know. And it doesn't matter. It can be, anybody that you're working with, you want to have that edification ready to go so you can set it up right. So that way, if you have to jump on and host, or you have to jump on, or you're trying to, set up that three-way call, you have that information ready to go. Be ready for the three-way. Anticipate that you're going to need to do a three-way call, right? And again, so that way you'll be ready for hosting. Some tricks that I have for you is, when you get bullet points for someone, I like to save them under my contacts for them. If I have that person in my phone, I save their edification bullet points in like the notes section of the contact. If your phone doesn't do that, if you have a notes section in your phone, if you have like a note app, you can save it there, like under each person. So that way you have it ready to go. And you can have it at any time. Like if you're being called upon to host, if you're being called upon to introduce them, or if it's your leadership and you're just getting comfortable with the edification bullet points, you have them on hand, right? So I save them on my phone. And then like, if you're doing a call, right? Again, I told you, don't sound like you're reading, but I always have my bullet points pulled up to the side of my screen. So that way, if I feel like I just have like a blank moment or something, I have the bullet point right there. I'm not struggling with what am I saying. It just makes me feel more comfortable, even though I don't read from it. It helps me to feel more comfortable, right? So that's a way that you can do that. If you're hosting in like the front of the room, like you're introducing someone in the front of a room at an actual live event, sometimes I'll pull that up and kind of have it like to the side in my hand in my phone, or even maybe on an index card, like just a couple keywords that help me remember the bullet points. Again, it's just kind of a comfortable thing. You don't want someone to obviously see that you have a card or that you're reading, but it just kind of helps to feel more comfortable. Like I can look down, oh, hey, military, okay, military background in the military, whatever it is. So that's some tips and tricks of some things that I do that help me with that. And guys, if you live edification, you'll always be ready, right? You'll always be ready, and your business is going to explode. People that have strong businesses, I guarantee you that they have strong edification, okay? So now let's talk about, now that we've kind of talked about the importance of edification, why you need to do it, kind of how to do it. Let's talk about the personality colors. I'm going to share something with you guys. I hope that it works. Let's see. Full screen. Maybe. Can y'all see that?
Yep.
Yes.
Does it look like it's like full screen?
Yes.
Yep. All 4 colors.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so I love this. So I love taking like personality quizzes and stuff. Like this is all, I love this kind of stuff. And so this is just a quick little snapshot. It's not in depth, like super in depth, but just to give you an idea. If you've never heard of personality colors, you may have seen it as like, I've seen it before as like animals like dolphin and I just forget the other ones, but anyway, it's like dolphin and whale and I don't know, but here's the colors. This is what we do, is the personality colors. So if you hear us, like if you've been in the Foresight family for any period of time, you're probably like, you've heard someone say, oh, they're a green or they're a blue or whatever. You're probably like, what? I remember the first time I heard that, I'm like, what are they talking about? Blue and green and red and yellow? Like, huh? But everyone has a dominant personality color, okay? So as you're talking to people, as you're talking to prospects, you want to start to become a little bit of a chameleon, and kind of customize your approach with them with the personality colors, right? For instance, if you're talking to someone that's a red, and I'm going to break these down in just a second. If you're talking to somebody that's a red and you start to get into the minutia and the weeds of like all these facts and like, you're kind of talking slow and asking all like kind of, moving at this kind of pace, like that's not going to be appealing to somebody that's a red. They want the information now. They want it quick and fast. Just give me the highlights. Don't get into the weeds, but we have a tendency to communicate and talk to people in whatever our dominant color is. And you want to start to develop the mindset of speaking to people in their color, because they're going to catch that information. They're going to relate to it and connect to it more than if you talk to them in your own color. Okay. People that are really, really good at this, you have a hard time establishing what color they actually are because they're so good at being a chameleon. So, and there's not a right or wrong color, okay? Sometimes I feel like we do these trainings and people don't want to be honest about what their actual color is because it's like they want to be another color, or they feel like one color is better than another color. Like, it's not about that. Just recognize what your primary color is and just embrace it. It's okay. Okay. They all have their strengths and they all have their weaknesses. Okay. So let's start with yellow. Okay. Yellows love helping people. This is typically like your nurses, teachers, counselors. They're not as money motivated. Okay. So if you start talking to a yellow about all of the like, yeah, this person, they got in, they made this much money, they did this, you know, and then you start talking about just all of these accolades that are like money focused, that's not necessarily going to connect as much with them. They're more mission focused. Okay. So they're givers. They love to donate their time. They love to donate money. They dress more casually and comfortably, right? So that's kind of going to be a little bit of a tell. They don't like pushy people or conflict. So again, if you're like a red color and you're working with a yellow and you're like pushy and pushing them and being aggressive, that's not necessarily going to appeal to that person because they don't like that. They don't like to be pushed, right? They're team players. They're patient, they're supportive, they're nurturing. You want to have an eclectic, you want to kind of have a rainbow in your organization, right? Because you need all of these people, right? You need some yellows on your team to be able to help people and to be that person that's, you know, supportive and helping you at the events. They're usually probably pretty good at greeting people and welcoming them into like live events that you have and things like that. Because they're kind and they love on people. Okay. So you want to have yellows, and those are your yellow personality colors. Then let's go over to blue, which is my personal primary color. We love having fun. They're motivated by fun. They're the life of the party. They're typically your speakers, your artists, people who are in the travel and hospitality industry. Okay. I always say it's easy for me to manufacture enthusiasm. Like it's easy for me to come across excited on a call because I just have a natural disposition about myself that's excited and enthusiastic. Okay. We're organized chaos, right? So I probably have like if I turned around my computer screen, which I'm not going to do, I have all these little like pockets of things, like maybe some books, maybe some papers, whatnot. I can tell you what's in there. Okay. So it is organized, but to the naked eye, it may seem chaotic, but I can tell you, hey, in this drawer is my Aunt Christie's cheesecake recipe. Now there's a whole bunch of other stuff in there, but I know that's where that cheesecake recipe is. Okay. So they're organized chaos. They're social people, right? So again, a great person to have, greeting people, welcoming people at the event. A great person to have, that they're great hosts, right? They're great people who are going to speak because they just naturally are good at that, right? They're enthusiastic and create excitement. Like I said, they're typically your master promoters, right? I can remember being in Las Vegas. We used to go to Vegas a lot for events, and I had this dessert, like people would always, it started to become a thing, like people wanted to see where I was going to go eat because I'd have these different food items that just were so good to me. And because I just thought they were so good, like I promoted them that way, like not on purpose, but just in conversation. And so then all of a sudden I'd have like, hey, wait, it was like this whole group of people that like would be going to this restaurant with me to try this food because I just naturally talked about it and whatever. So when you have blues in your team, right, they're going to be great promoters because they have a way of painting pictures with their words that make people want to come and experience whatever they're talking about. Okay. So again, you got to have the blues because those people are going to be people to really get people to a call, get people to events. They're just naturally going to be probably more good at that than other colors. Then you have your greens, right? So greens are going to be your analytical people, okay? They focus on facts and logical information, all right? They're going to be your engineers, your doctors, your accountants. They take action when the payoff and direction is clear, okay? So greens might be a little bit slower to make a decision because they're taking in all this facts and information. They typically sometimes have a lot of questions. But once they do make a decision, they commit to it and they go all in, okay? They're very punctual, and timing and punctuality is very important to them, and they pay attention to the details. So you can see why it might be good if you're a blue to have a green that you're working with, because blues, we're maybe not going to get caught up in the details. Like, I'm not reading the fine print, but I need greens in my life to read the fine print, right? So that way I don't, get myself into something I don't want to, right? And you, again, you can develop the other skills, but everyone has that dominant color. So with greens, again, they're probably going to be slower to pull the trigger, right? They're going to have a lot of questions. They're going to want a lot of information. You might want to talk to them a little bit, more with more of a pace like this, maybe a little bit more monotone, because that's probably how they're going to come across, okay? As opposed to a blue, if you start talking to me like this and you start, giving me all these facts and figures and everything like that, I'm like you lost me. I'm dreaming about being at the beach, okay? But that's me. And then you have the one that I feel like everybody always wants to be, that they always think that they are, which is red, who are money motivated. Okay, that's their primary, like they care about being the best, being at the top. They want to make the most money. They want to get to the top position the fastest. That's your CEOs, your attorneys, your politicians, your pilots. They have their way or the highway mentality. A lot of times these are your people that have the biggest egos. Okay. They dress for success. They're in power suits. They want to be noticed. Okay. They're goal oriented. They're very direct in their communication. And they typically have, as I said, big egos. They're not very compassionate people. Okay. So again, you can see why you would need also to have the other colors, because as we say, typically people who are red personality colors, they leave a lot of dead bodies in their wake. Okay. They're just going to run they're just going to run through you, like, hey, I'm headed to the top, and if you get in my way, I'm just gonna run right over you, okay? They're goal-oriented, they're high achievers. So obviously, you wanna have reds on your team because they typically are gonna make a lot of moves. They're gonna typically be people who are like your top runners, but obviously it's very different from some of the other people and personality types that you have here who are gonna be more about the team and the big team, okay? So you want to think about, hey, the person I'm talking to, what color are they? What's their dominant color? What do I think that their dominant color is? Now, don't tell them this, okay? Don't be like, hey, you know what? I think you're a red. But just know it and have it as a note in your mind for what that is. And then kind of structure your communication with them. Like if I know I'm talking to somebody that's a red, I'm not going to get into a lot of conversation. I'm not going to get into a lot of details. They typically want things quick, fast, and in a hurry. Okay. So I'll adjust my communication with them to kind of suit that. Does everybody, if you want a screenshot of this, did you get a screenshot of it? Because I'm going to unshare my screen so I think I am. Where's my mouse? There we go. Is everybody good? Everybody's good? Oh, hold on. I'm going to stop my screen share. Okay. Yeah, so everyone has, as I said, has a dominant color, okay? So you want to speak with them in that language. And again, you need all the colors a part of your team. You need the Angel Trents, right? You need the Laura Johnsons, you need the Brenda Novice, we're all different colors, right? You need all of those. And it's going to help you also in other areas of your life. Because if you notice, reds typically marry yellows, right? Because they need somebody to balance out that like hard edge that they have in their personality, right? They need somebody to I think somebody made the joke one time of they need somebody to kind of be their not literal punching bag, but kind of like, they need somebody that's going to be a sweeter spirit to be able to kind of handle the aggressiveness and the assertiveness of their personality, right?
Boss
And so,
around. To
Mr.
boss
Bean?
around.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the reds need the yellow to they need to be able to boss them around. That's right. And then you have your blues a lot of times marry a green, right? Because the green needs the blue to bring some fun and excitement and enthusiasm into their life. And like I said before, the blues need the green to be able to kind of like bring that like sense and sensibility to the situation, right? They need somebody to kind of bring them back down to earth sometimes and to be able to have the details discovered or whatever. Not saying they always pair up that way, but a lot of times you might see that, right? And if you know your spouse's or significant other or your daughter or your mother or your son or whatever's personality color, you can even tweak your communication. Just as we use the agreement drills in regular life, in our personal lives, you can use the color trainings also, right? Because if you know how to speak to someone, you're going to be more effective at your communication with them, whether it's about business or if it's in a personal situation. So I'm curious in the chat, what do you think that your color is? Does anybody have any guesses? I already told you I'm blue, so I won't make you guess mine, but even though sometimes some people try to insinuate that I'm a yellow, but it's just not true. I just happen to love animals also. Let's see. So let's see. William says he's a red. Philip, yellow. J&J, blue. All right. Got my fellow blue. Does anybody have a guess what they think Mr. Bean's color is? Let's see. Oscar, blue. Leroy, green. Awesome. What do you guys think Mr. Bean is? Carla, is that guess for you, or that guess is for Mr. Bean? Solar Vic,
The first one is for me, and the second one is for Mr. Bean.
Yes, I'm seeing everybody. Okay. Blue. Yep. Oscar says Mr. Bean is a red. I can see how you might think that sometimes, but no, Mr. Bean's dominant color is blue. He loves having fun, and he'll always tell you that he's organized chaos. So see, it's kind of fun, but again, don't be that person that, when I first heard this training, I found myself like, you kind of like, I think they're a green, I think they're a yellow, I think that, like, I bet they're a red, you can kind of get caught up in that. So don't find yourself out, kind of doing that with your prospects or even your team members, because I do feel like sometimes people get offended, like they want to a lot of people just want to be a red, they think that's their color, and I think it's just because they want to be. Laura says, I told Mr. Bean I was yellow and he laughed. Yeah, Laura, I think you're a green, right? You have more of a green personality type, right? Yes.
Yes, I'm a green. That's what he told me. He told me I was a green. He says, greens are analytical.
Yeah. Yes. For a lot of times I used to think that greens didn't like me because we're just so different in how we communicate. But then I realized, oh, hey, like when I had this is how this training will help you. When I had this training for the first time, I realized, oh, hey, it isn't that they don't like me, it's that they just communicate so different from me because I have such a bubbly, like, hey, a personality that a green is like, oh, hey, wait, that's just a little bit too much. And I'm always like, they just seem real calm and cool and collected, that it would be like, we're just not like connected. But now I know that's just how they communicate. So it helped me to take that off the table as a situation, because I realized, oh, hey, that we just communicate different, no problem. So now I know when I'm talking to a green, I try to slow my pace down a little bit and make sure I have my facts and information together. So, working with yellows and greens drive me crazy. Yes, I understand that. So sometimes when you are working with different personality types, it can start to feel like it drives you crazy. because they do want information and ask questions and process things different from you. But again, the more you learn to embrace that, the stronger of a team that you can build, and you can recognize how much of an asset each of the colors can be in different areas, and you can start to tap into that. And also it makes you better. Like working with Mrs. Bean and like helping to set up events and working the tables at some of the events and doing some of those behind the scenes things, it helped me to bring out the green side of myself. The only reason I think to ask certain questions, or I think things through a certain way, is because of working with Mrs. Bean and having to train my brain to be more detail oriented. So I'm so grateful for that, because I wouldn't be that way if it wasn't for that. But it's something I have to pull out of myself. It's not something I naturally do. So once you recognize your strengths, then you can start to tap into some of those other areas and strengthen those things. And your leaders can help you do that too. Like if you notice, hey, I noticed that when I talk to this color, like this personality color, I really struggle with that. Your leaders can help you to see like, okay, well, hey, maybe you're not like tapping into this enough. Or, maybe you want to make sure, like for me, making sure that I have facts ready is really helpful, because when I'm talking to a green, like I said, that's not important to me because I'm a blue. But if I have that prepared and ready, when I'm talking to a green, I don't seem unprepared, because a green is going to be unattracted to someone that doesn't seem like they have the answers. And I always will say, hey, if I don't have the answer, I can get it for you. But just having that more seriousness to my demeanor is really helpful. So that was really fun. And again, I think it's really, really helpful. It's one of my favorite trainings because it's fun, but it also gives you a lot of insight into how to communicate with people. And that is what I have for you guys this morning. That is the training that I am bringing to the table to work with you guys on, and I'm really excited and grateful that I have the opportunity to serve the platform today. I hope that it added extreme value for you guys. I hope that it was helpful and that you were able to take that and take the information that was shared and come back next week with a lot more wins. And I'm grateful and thankful to Mr. and Mrs. Bean for not only having this platform available to us, but also for allowing me to have the opportunity to serve the big team. I don't take it lightly, and I definitely consider it to be an honor and a privilege always, anytime that I get to serve the big team. So with that, I will see you guys at the bank and on the beaches. And I think I see a Mr. Bean sighting, so hold the phone on that.
Maybe you can see me better. Hold on. Let's see. What about now? You good?
Yes, sir. I can see you.
Okay. Well, first of all, I appreciate you doing what you did today and coming in here and providing the value as you always do. And like I said, guys, this is a training that each and every last one of you, you have to get good at training. You have to get good at teaching your people the edification portion for sure. Everything else can come naturally and organically and with time, but you don't want to lose time when it comes to teaching people about edification, because when you lose time, you lose business members, you lose opportunities, and I'm just tell you right now, you lose money. And so I love the way she edified the opportunity to serve, and so she basically, if you're a person who, again, you like to serve, you know you're going to get rewarded, based on having your moments when the leadership is not going to be available. So when it comes time for you to be called on, can we rely on you? Right. And so that's a form of her doing the training as a form of edification and recognition from us. It's letting her people and her team know, hey, I'm working with a leader. I'm working with a trusted source. Right. I'm working with somebody who looked like this, like Brenda, the other night, did a whole entire presentation in Spanish for a team that's not a part of her team that she doesn't get paid on. Right. Like Angel the other day, the last 2 or 3 weeks working with Tony, who's not a part of her team, who she doesn't get paid on for Philip, right? And so everybody's doing something, for somebody. Sabrina and Eddie, and they're coming down here, and along with the other Sabrina and Oscar, who are coming down here to San Antonio to support the event, and Dr. Arlene coming here to support the event. They don't have people in the business in San Antonio. So, there's a lot of different ways that you can be edified if you're actually participating, the system will always edify you, because the system is what blows you up and increases your value, and it has people looking at you in a different manner. I can't wait for y'all to actually hear Carly present. And so when she starts to present, you'll see our presentation team is going to be super elite. There's one thing about Tuesday nights. Tuesday nights will be the most watched. Both nights are going to be very, very highly watched, because you have people who are looking for the opportunities, and they're promoting for both nights. But when it comes to just coming back for sheer information, and learning how to do presentations, and they don't have to learn from me, they're going to learn from you guys. I can't wait, to be able to sit back and say, man, okay, this thing is on autopilot. Week 1, week 2, week 3, these two, and then training's the same way. Because the one thing that you guys do for me and I appreciate is, you're working me out of a job. Okay. And that job is being a presenter for you guys on a regular basis, being a trainer for you guys on a regular basis. I need to be making cameo appearances. I need to get out of your way, so your teams can look at you guys as the leaders that they can edify. They can't. It's harder for them to edify me if they never see you. And so, but it's harder for me to actually put you in a situation where you can be edified if you don't go out there and do the work first. So I don't know what you're strong at if you're not going out there and doing activity. I don't know if you're strong at inviting. I don't know if you're strong at presenting. I don't know if you're strong at edifying. I don't know what you're strong at, right? What trainings I don't know if you're great at, doing going to events and plucking people out of events like Angel, right? I don't know if you're just great at door knocking, like Sarah. If you're not door knocking, giving me results. So, and giving me an opportunity to have a conversation with you. So that's the thing. So like Carly said earlier, guys, I'm telling you right now, one of the things about our group in general, and this is what we have to have permeate through the company, right? Because what we have is we have a company of people who started initially from the industry of solar. And solar, again, is not network marketing. There is no edification. It's a cutthroat industry. Okay. So what happens is now we have to have our culture permeate through the rest of the company when it comes to edification, because a lot of great people in this company, they just haven't been taught edification. They haven't been taught how to edify. They haven't been taught how to campaign. They haven't been taught how to build up the leadership and build up, and celebrate what's going on and build up the product, services, and companies. They haven't been taught any of this stuff. And so it's not their fault, right? But it's our fault if we don't go out there and teach them directly and indirectly, the proper behavior for 7-figure people. Okay. And so we will always be the most admired organization in every company, because we're going to produce, but it's not about because of the production. It's always about, the family values that we actually have. And I'm talking about the Forsyth family, our actual family values as we talk as a group. And so people love what we do. They love how we behave. They love how we edify. They love how we support each other. They love how we encourage each other. It's not just, oh, he's on a mentor list, and so I have to do business with him. No, people want to do business with us. And when you become a mentor, okay, and people can relate to you, and people have heard you train, and people have heard and saw you get numbers. When they're looking for a mentor, who do you think they're going to choose? Somebody who they don't know, don't recognize, or somebody who they see all the time serving, and who they see all the time getting recognized and edified. Guys, help me help you. I'm telling you, you see, Angel had a chance to do the Monday training for the company when it came to events. He just had a chance to do the Monday training when it comes to solar and what he does best. I can guarantee you, Carly and I are going to collaborate. One day we're going to do a millionaire mentorship call on edification, because, it's only so much impact I'm going to have on the company directly. So, but when somebody else teaches it, the way Carly, how many of y'all, just by a show of hands, some hearts and fires or something, how many of y'all think the whole entire company can benefit from a training like this? And I'll wait. Okay. And so when you're looking at, there you go, when you're looking at a company and that's poised for an explosion, right? They have all the right pieces in place, but they have the wrong behavior. The company will never ever reach its potential, right? And so when you have a company and everything is in place, they don't have the right behavior, what happens is the company implodes. right? Because that's the only way it can come down. It has to be an internal situation, right? If there's no edification, the implosion follows. Don't matter how big we are, how much money we made first year, second year, third year, whatever. Implosion comes right afterwards because, remember, if you're not growing, you're dying. But the scoreboard says tells you that you're growing because you see numbers coming in on the books. But on the back end, there's something that's laying in the weeds that happened as a cancer that's laying in the weeds that happened that's going to take your actual group out or take somebody else's group out, take the company out. And that's because the respect, for your associates and colleagues wasn't there. Your upline your senior partners wasn't there. You appreciate for somebody doing something for you to help you and your family, it wasn't there. And so even if a person gets started without edification, right, they're going to continue to do their business the same way they came in without edification. Okay, so they're going to have a cancer of no edifiers in their group, nobody who has respect in their group. So nobody can move that individual and suggest that they get on calls and trainings, suggest that they be on events, suggest that they invite, suggest that you have no leverage whatsoever. What you have is $20 one time and residual income, and you're only going to give it for them one person until that person quits. Okay, so there's a reason why we've made seven figures, because we've helped other people make hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands, and thousands of dollars. Okay, and that culture keeps people in long enough, right, until they get strong enough to go out there and build something special. But we got to be special first. And so, Carly, what you did again this week was special, and each and every last one of our trainers, when you guys serve, I really appreciate you guys from the bottom of my heart. It just lets us know that what we're doing and what we're investing in you guys, we're getting a return back on it. And I appreciate you for making us look smart. So, guys, again, like Carly said, guys, this is where the rubber meets the road. It's Saturday. Everybody's at home, especially in most states right now because it's cold. And so you can go knock some doors, make some phone calls, do some invites, but find a way to go out here and get those sheets, filled up when it comes to the 4x4. Go out there and find out the fastest way you can to talk to as many people as you can to get 20 people on the page so you can make that $500 a month minimum. All right. So thank you, Carly. All right, guys, y'all have a great one. San Antonio, here we are.